That whole video I just made, my head was cut off, but that's another lesson for you guys to not focus so much on the external illusion and to just hone in on my words and to really listen. But I think it's a lesson for me to really make sure my videos are good quality, with it either not being blurry, my head cut off, the sound being decent, but that comes with time. Anyways, I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you enjoy this video. I want to talk about generational and ancestral healing today. And the first and most important thing I want to say is that the only way, I'm sorry if it's really loud, I'm kind of by a highway, but the only way to alter, to heal, to change karmically a ancestral lineage is through yourself. And this has been very prominent the last few months for me. And for years, I always wished to, we all do, we wish to have our parents and our family see the way we do, through our eyes. And no matter how much we verbally discuss with them and try to initiate them into our beliefs, it won't make a difference unless we step into their shoes, unless we start to heal ourselves. So for me, I spent quite a bit of time in Idaho doing some deep work, as a lot of you guys know from my other videos. But I started to realize that everything that I was experiencing, all of these negativities, all of these setbacks and old conditioning beliefs were solely linked to either my past life or the way I grew up. And in order for me to clear that passage for the rest of my family so that I can be the last generation to experience that, I had to sit with it, to nurture it, to dance with it, to love it, and to see its origin but not get caught on the origin, and to forgive it. So I have some interesting stories. As I did a lot of inner work, I began to notice, I would call my parents, and typically the first thing they would say is something like, when are you going back to school? When are you going to get your life back together? And all of these things. And for the first time, I was starting to notice that I would call them and they would just say, how are you? What are you up to? And I've started to slowly notice that my parents are more receptive to me. For the first time, I feel like they're proud of what I'm doing, even though it's not exactly what they would want me to do. So I went home at one point and I saw my dad, and we were together for a while, and like I said, his approach towards me has completely shifted. And that's because I understood his lineage. I forgave his lineage, and I didn't try to possess him or to control him and to direct him. I just understood with as much love and compassion as possible. And so when I do that, I give him room to do the same for me. And so this old belief and this old system of interacting with one another and stealing energy and being competitive with one another is slowly melting away, because we can now sit together and observe each other and to respect what we need to experience, solely for the reason because I understand him and I don't judge, and he doesn't do the same for me. So whatever you put out there, you will get back. And usually if you put out the whole either self-pity or the fact that, oh, I'm more not intelligent, but I'm more keen than you in a way, I'm more aware, that's also putting out a competitive energy to someone, and they can pick up on that subconsciously. So if you put in a very soft and gentle and nurturing energy to another person, they'll reciprocate that. And if you aren't being reciprocated that, ask what your intention is, and you'll start to realize that a lot of the time you are doing it out of competition or to be noticed. Okay, and then another experience I had was with my mom. And we were talking, and I began to express the way I felt as a little girl, the way I felt growing up. And it was very difficult being vulnerable because we don't normally discuss things like that. And at first I saw her old pattern because I saw my old pattern. She got defensive, she got angry, started to raise her voice, and then I just looked at her and I was honest again, and all of a sudden she just started bursting out crying. My mom doesn't cry, I've never seen her cry. And she just starts to say all these things like, I felt like I neglected you as a child, and all of a sudden the role switched where I was nurturing her, where I spoke up to help her. And for the first time, that unlocked some things for my mom, and that lineage of non-communication and that feminine breakage is starting to be healed. And I can tell that, I'm telling myself too, that I am the last generation of woman in my line to suffer. I'm done with this, and I'm doing it because I love the women in my family. And so that all future generations of me and the female won't have to go through what I have to go through, and my mother and her mother. And then, I'm sorry, I'm talking about experiences, but I learned the best through experiential knowledge, as a lot of you guys do and know. Then another thing that happened was my sister-in-law, we spent several days and nights talking and going through her healing process as well. And it was another cycle of an ancestral conditioned thought pattern. And I see it in myself, and what I see in myself is what I see and what others see in humanity. So if you in yourself can see a lacking, you can see a feeling of not being whole, of not being sufficient, you better bet that millions and millions of other people are experiencing that too. And unless you start to heal and love that aspect of you, you're not going to allow others to do the same. So whatever you do healing-wise, it's doing it for humanity, not just yourself, because we're one conscious link here. And so whatever I do for me is what I do for other. And that's the whole purpose, is to serve other. It's to serve humanity. We're the great mirror. And that's our role, is self-realization, but self-realization implies others' realization as well. So yeah, ancestral karmic healing begins with you. It begins with you. And in order to heal another, in order to alter the suffering and the wars and the violence you see outside of yourself, like Paramahansa Yogananda always says, it's just a reflection, the outside is just a reflection of the internal. So if you really wish to heal that, you must go within. And there obviously is a balance. There are actions we must do outside of ourselves, like communicating to family, but you have to meet halfway. You have to do self-work, you have to do work on others. And it'll all meet up, and once it meets up, it'll dissolve. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll try to make more. I've been really just enjoying the silence and being totally free on the road. Life has been beautiful. I've been doing this for 2 months now in my car. And I've been traveling for 5 months total from Argentina to this. I've been unemployed for 5 months and more to come until probably September or so. But whatever you really desire, if you put your heart and your mind to that in a pure, innocent, honest way, you will bring that to yourself. And it may take years. I remember when I was younger, I always wanted this. And all of those seeds that I planted to grow this have harvested, and I'm experiencing it now. And now I am planting new seeds for my future. And it's just an ongoing cycle, constantly. So just have pure intentions, and you will manifest exactly what you need.